U.S. supply chain, whether it's an oil pipeline, meat processing plant, to discuss investing in cybersecurity. Let's welcome in Peter Tran, Chief Information Security Officer at Inversight. I'm glad you're with us because this is something that we have been obviously front and center focused on. We've seen the increases happening, and companies like Apple, for example, have been focusing on privacy. But what do we need to know about cybersecurity at this point? Maybe people aren't taking it seriously enough.
Well, you know, Nicole, cybersecurity is everybody's business. So what the and long-term investors need to keep in mind, particularly retail investors. So sentiment right now for anything high multiple growth is just taking a beating. And unfortunately, the cybersecurity stocks are getting swept up in that downward pressure sell. So what long-term investors need to keep in mind, that the security plays out there are going to be part of every single business, regardless of whether you're brick and mortar or you're moving into the new economy. So I break down cybersecurity stocks into a couple of different tranches here. One is the frontline cyber defense. So those responders, those breach responders are in there. And my fan favorite has always been CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike on that. There's some great discounts on there. They've taken a haircut like everybody else in high multiples. And long-term investors and retail investors should really think about that because what we're moving into is the ability to address cloud, work from anywhere type of technologies, and that is very important. The second area is what's called zero trust or edgeless security. And one stock that comes to mind there, and I'm a fan favorite there as well, is Zscaler. So they have the ability to adapt so companies can essentially backhaul their traffic through a Zscaler platform, regardless of whether you're Azure or you're AWS or you're in any other cloud environment. And it gives the ability to control identity and access into those. So the difference between our old model in security and where we're moving towards in those particular stocks I mentioned is that we used to log in once in our laptop, and then you kind of get into your network, and then you could do what you need to do. Now it's edgeless, meaning because we're in the cloud, work from anywhere because of the pandemic, and then the new economy and a lot of the innovation, we want to be able to check and balance everybody that comes in the door and every room they go through. So that's a really key area to focus on.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you talk about these individual names, right? Front line of cyber defense, recommending CrowdStrike there, and then you had Zscaler as well. And then there is an ETF, right? There's another way to invest in cybersecurity if people are interested in doing that with the ETF. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so don't forget, people should not forget to have that in portfolio of cybersecurity. So the ETF, Global X Cybersecurity ETF, and I think the ticker is BUG, B-U-G, BUG, it's kind of clever, but you get a basket and a blend of the cybersecurity stocks in there. And however, everything's volatile now, generally speaking, from a market standpoint, but you get less volatility. They're about 34% as of year to date, as of today's close. They've done quite well, established in 2019. But what you do is if you don't want to go straight into a CrowdStrike or a Zscaler or a Splunk or anything like that, but you want exposure to a number of them, they get you into Palo Alto, they'll get you into CrowdStrike, they'll get you into Zscaler, and you can kind of go, it's the ones that won't keep you up at night. So long term, you can have that as part of your foundation, but you do want to get into those more innovative stocks that are going to utilize artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then address that new economy of where we're forecasting into that edgeless zero trust model, where we're all moving in there into cloud hosted, native cloud. And certainly ETF is a great way to go, but I don't want to leave your show here without saying investors can get a 2-for-1 too in looking at security infrastructure, a 2-for-1 meaning a Microsoft or VMware. Microsoft did $10 billion last year in security alone, a 40% increase. VMware has their intrinsic security solutions, which is Carbon Black. You have they acquired AirWatcher, doing a number of things across their virtualization platforms of virtual desktop environments and cloud. So you not only get the infrastructure of growth in the work from anywhere IT technology, but you also will get that security play, which is essentially part of the baked-in model for their businesses.
As you look at what's going on with the hacks and what's going on in Washington, and how we work to battle this, is now the time to get in and buy up this space? Should we be doing a little at a time? How do you suggest buying into the cybersecurity stocks?
I think right now is a perfect time for investors to take advantage of it. And my advice is to buy in the dips, because we're going to see this wonkiness occur throughout this summer. We want to see this inflation start to correct, and then the Fed start to take appropriate action on there to stabilize. But what my prediction will see is we're going to see the wonkiness in about 3 to 4 months continuing, right? So investors should look at these plays. They should buy incrementally on those dips. There's going to continue to be that downward pressure from time to time, and buy them. Take your time, pick well, balance it appropriately, and look at the forecast of where we're going to. So innovation is very key when it comes to cybersecurity companies. And we're going to look at a lot of consolidation that's going to occur within 2021, especially with corporate tax rates being where they are, the Fed's keeping a very accommodating rate. You'll see a lot of these plays around zero trust and frontline and infrastructure start to have a lot of consolidation. So wait for those to happen as well before you start diving in. But take your time, buy in the dips, and start building from this point forward.
All right, Peter Tran, thank you so much for that, Chief Information Security Officer at Inforsight. Thank you, Peter.
Welcome.